From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmond O'Brien as...
Johnny Dollar.
Philip Martin, Johnny, I've got a job for you.
Fine. What is it?
Mr. Carl Baskerville is insured with us.
I've heard the name.
Retired, wealthy.
That's the best way.
His brother is the beneficiary. Baskerville called us a little while ago and said he wanted the money to go to a charity in case of his death.
What made him change his mind?
He thinks his brother's out to kill him.
Oh, that's charming. What do you want me to do?
He's insured for $500,000, Johnny.
You just made me a bodyguard.
At least until we found out how true Baskerville's story is. We did some checking. 6 years ago, he sent his brother William to prison for absconding with company funds. William was released from state prison a week ago.
Oh, yeah. That's where I've heard the name. I remember the case.
Oh, it's a strange setup. Sends his brother to jail, names him as beneficiary. Wants it changed because he says his brother's going to kill him.
Cain and Abel really started something, didn't they?
Edmond O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Columbia All Risk Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Baskerville matter. Expense account item 1, 3887, train fare and incidentals between Hartford and New York, after receiving from you the necessary information concerning Mr. Carl Baskerville. Expense account item 2, 750, cab fare between Grand Central and Baskerville's home on Long Island. The house was set back from the road, hidden by tall trees, and surrounded by several acres of well-kept lawns and gardens. I walked up the long gravel path to the front door and knocked. I lit a cigarette and waited. The afternoon sun was warm on the back of my neck, and the air smelled of wet grass and bright flowers.
Yes?
I turned around to see the biggest man since Goliath. He was close to 7 feet and must have weighed in at about 280. He was nice-looking and wearing a well-cut blue suit, probably made from the best part of a tent.
Can I do something for you?
Bend over. I'm getting a stiff neck. I'm Johnny Dollar. I'm here representing...
Oh, yes, Columbia All Risk. They called and said you were on your way. Come in. I'm Mr. Baskerville's personal secretary. Mr. Baskerville is expecting you.
The big man led the way through the big house, through the big French doors that opened on the big garden. Carl Baskerville was sitting in a chair, feeding the birds. He was reaching his late 50s with the sour look of a man that didn't want to. As he tossed the breadcrumbs out on the gravel walk, a big diamond on his little finger flashed in the sun.
Mr. Baskerville.
What's up? Oh, Collins. Who's that with you?
The man from the insurance company.
Pull up a chair and sit down, young man.
Thanks.
What's your name?
Dollar, Johnny Dollar, Mr. Baskerville.
Yes, your company called me, eh? I'm just feeding the little birds. Yeah, Birdy. Birdy! I've been doing it for some time now.
Swell.
What are you standing around for, Collins? I want to talk to Mr. Dollar in private.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. If you need me, I'll be in the study.
I won't need you.
Yes.
How tall is he?
6 feet 9 inches. He's been with me for some time. I've been retired for 5 years, Mr. Dollar. I always wanted to spend my afternoons in the garden feeding the birds. I used to get up at 6 and go to work, and have breakfast and look out of that window right over there. I used to see the little birds. I always said that someday I'd spend my afternoons out here feeding the little fellow.
I'm glad you made it.
Oh, I know.
Mr. Baskerville, I was sent here...
I know why you were sent. Sit down. Mr. Dollar, I'm 57. I spent most of my life making money, making a success of myself. Success in terms of what you consider success.
That's an interesting statement.
How is it? Why'd you say that?
How do you know what I consider the norm of success?
Isn't money important to you?
Sure, it has to be.
How important?
Very, but not all important.
Oh, yes. Well, what else is important to you, Mr. Dollar?
A lot of things.
Don't be evasive. Tell me something.
A philosophy.
Oh, philosophy. I see. What kind of a philosophy?
Not taking people for granted.
Oh, I see. Here, you feed the birds for a while. Go on. Makes you feel real good.
Sure. Here, Birdy. Birdy.
Oh, that's fine.
Get a load of that one. He thinks he's a pheasant.
Yes, he's a greedy one. He always does that.
They're a lot like people, aren't they?
I suppose you know about my brother, Mr. Dollar?
William Baskerville worked for you 6 years ago. Supposedly took some company funds.
Definitely took some. $100,000.
Sent to state prison for 10 years. Was paroled last week after serving 6. You're insured with Columbia All Risk for $500,000, and your brother is the beneficiary.
That is correct.
Now you want to change.
That is again correct.
Want to tell me some more about your brother?
Well, your company's worried. Is that it?
$500,000 worth.
I suppose you consider it strange I'd send my brother to prison, then make him my beneficiary.
I guess strange is a good word.
I don't particularly care if you believe this or not, but I hated to prosecute my brother. But he was guilty, and it became more than just a family matter. There were stockholders to be considered, and his guilt was discovered before I could do anything. You're not feeling those birds.
I'm out of crumbs.
Oh, well, here. Take some right here. Now, feed that little fellow out there. He's the timid one. He doesn't get as much as the others. You know, you're right about them being like people. The timid ones never get enough and generally fall by the wayside.
You made your brother your beneficiary, and now you want to change it.
Yeah, well, only as a precaution. With my money out of the way, perhaps William will think twice before he attempts anything foolish. I'm having my will changed, too. You see, I originally left my entire estate to him.
What makes you think he might try?
This letter. This will do.
Okay. I spent 5 years knitting you, but I learned a trade. I used it drawing blueprints for your shroud.
Poor William always did go for the dramatic.
When'd you get this?
I got it yesterday. It's the first I've heard from William since he went to prison.
Well, it'll never get a Pulitzer Award.
Yeah, William always did go in for the dramatic. Since boyhood, he's envied my get up and go. We never got along. It was even too much for my poor mother. She died very young.
Probably overworked from knitting straitjackets.
What's that? Don't be flippant, young man. That was uncalled for.
Yeah, I guess it was. I have a strange habit of getting flippant when I get confused. I'm confused, Mr. Baskerville.
Yeah. Well, William is the last of the Baskervilles. Hothead, childish, weak, and insecure. But he's a Baskerville. If he kills me, he'll be caught. If he doesn't gain by my untimely death, he may reconsider. I still have hopes of a reconversion, so to speak.
The regeneration of a Baskerville.
If you will. Perhaps when he calms down and forgets his last 6 years, we'll talk. And then I plan on renaming him as my sole heir. Are you still confused, Mr. Dollar?
You haven't contacted him?
I told you didn't know where I was.
Somebody out looking for him?
Of course not. Why?
Because I think somebody should be. If you're going to remove the temptation, it might be a good idea to inform William. How's he going to know he's been momentarily disinherited?
Man?
Yes, Mr. Baskerville?
Well, I must admit.
If you don't want to call the police, I'd suggest a private detective.
Yes, but there's no telling how much time.
It's better than feeding the birds. Can you think of anyone who might know where your brother is?
Well, perhaps I can. There was a girl before William went to prison. I'm not even sure she's still in New York.
What's her name?
Carter. Virginia Carter. Lived someplace in the village. I only met her once 6 years ago.
And hire yourself a good private detective in a hurry and tell him about this Virginia Carter. She might know where William is.
Yeah, all right.
In the meantime, I'd recommend that the change of beneficiary be hurried up.
Oh, I'm getting tired. I'm tired. I'll finish feeding my birds.
Yeah, sure.
Good day, Mr. Dollar.
Oh, here. I had a few crumbs left over.
Oh, well, thanks. Hey, buddy. Buddy!
I left him sitting with his friends. He'd have one good deed to take along with him. I went back through the French doors and started back through the house. I got as far as the hallway. It's Baskerville. Oh, swell. He was sitting in the chair with a bullet hole just over his heart. His head was resting on his chest, and he still held the breadcrumbs in his hand. He seemed to be smiling like he knew he was going to be able to feed the birds for a long time.
Mr. Baskerville! Mr. Baskerville! Good Lord.
Where were you?
What?
Where were you?
In the library. I heard the shot. I saw William.
Where?
Over there at the far end of the garden. He had a gun. He turned and ran.
Let's call homicide.
Renner's homicide.
Lieutenant, this is Johnny Dollar.
Well, hello. Haven't heard from you in a month.
I've got a killing for you.
Who?
I'm out at the Baskerville estate.
The Baskerville?
He used to be Carl Baskerville. He was shot a few minutes ago in his garden.
Oh, William did it. I saw William with a gun.
What?
Baskerville's secretary says he saw William Baskerville with a gun.
The brother? The one who just got out of state?
That's right. I'm here because Carl thought William was going to kill him. He showed me a letter. Holy...
A letter?
Get out here. I think I just made the mistake of my career. I shoved Collins aside and ran back out in the garden. Baskerville was still smiling, and things looked about the same. I went through his coat pockets and found what I was looking for. Nothing. The threatening letter from William was gone. I went back in the library faster than I'd come out. I remembered what Baskerville had said about a girl named Carter. I grabbed a phone book on a wild hunch and started looking up the Carters in Greenwich. Only one Virginia in that part of town, so I said a quiet prayer to the gods that be, visioned my employer's reaction when they found out their investigator had been on hand when they lost a cool $500,000, and called a cab in the hopes that I might at least save half a face. I told Collins not to touch anything and to wait for Lieutenant Brenner's. Expense account item 3, $8.75 cab fare to Greenwich Village. It was a long shot, but it could be the same girl that had known Martin. I went up the stairs of an old brownstone and knocked on the door. When it finally opened, I got the quickest scalding in history. She was wearing something thin enough to make a silkworm hang himself.
Yes?
I bet you had a hard time finding something to wear in July.
I'm not cold-blooded. What's on your mind?
I'd like to know about William Baskerville.
Oh, that one. I haven't seen him in years.
Maybe you've got a picture of him?
I've got lots of pictures. There might be one of William somewhere.
Well, let's look through the whole flock. I've got lots of time.
Before I let you in, you'd better tell me your name. I don't want you to steal anything from me.
Honey, if anybody stole anything from you, they'd get their fingers burned off at the elbows.
Come in.
She opened the door and led me into the living room, sat down. The shades were drawn, and I had a hard time finding the couch.
Oh.
Pardon me, I'm flying blind
You
here.
must have studied Braille.
Well, how do we look at the pictures with a magic lantern?
I thought maybe you wanted to relax a minute.
Put something in a glass. I'll cool down.
I don't drink. Never keep the stuff around.
Doesn't leave you much of a field. What do you major in?
Cigarettes. Have one?
Yeah,
I haven't got a match.
just hold on to it. It'll light up.
I think I'd better get the pictures. I'll be right back.
I get lonesome in the dark.
I'll just be a second. Turn on the radio.
Where is it?
By your elbow.
Oh,
That's nice.
picked it out myself.
You can start with these. If William isn't in this file, I've got lots more. You're not in a hurry, are you?
Not a bit.
Good. This might run into overtime.
We will return you to yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in just a moment. Saddle up the sofa and ride off to adventure with CBS Radio every Saturday night. That's when most of these same stations bring you the Gene Autry Show and Bill Boyd as Hopalong Cassidy. Rustlers don't stand a chance. Crooks of the range go down under fire when those two riders for justice, Gene Autry and Hopalong Cassidy, empty their holsters. Enjoy their latest adventures tonight on CBS Radio. Now with our star, Edmond O'Brien, we bring you the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Virginia Carter wasn't worried about working late. There was only one trouble with the job. It was tough keeping my mind on two things at once. It was like trying to read a mail order catalog in front of a blast furnace. She sat close to me and handed me one picture at a time, describing each guy in the photographs. I've seen draft boards with smaller clientele. Several times she stopped and looked at one of the pictures, smiled, and passed the guy to me. I was going to mention an old snapshot I had of myself when she tapped one of the collection with a polished fingernail.
William Baskerville. Here he is.
Figured to be sooner or later. How long ago was this taken?
Well, I couldn't say exactly, but I guess about 6 years.
You should keep a file.
William was a nice guy, had money. Showed me a good time.
What else do you know about him?
He has a brother with a checking account at Fort Knox.
William have any unusual habits?
A few. They wouldn't help you find him.
Well,
Oh, I remember something. He used to play the saxophone.
hobby?
No, not exactly. He played around town with several small bands. He used to pick me up after work, and we'd go to a dive someplace, and he'd sit in. He loved it. He was a nut on jazz.
You make money at it?
I guess so. Before he went to work for his brother. I don't think his brother liked him playing the sax.
Okay, honey, thanks. I'll stop around again sometime. Take a look at your parlor.
Must been a nice soft web.
All right, if I take William with me?
Not if you bring a picture back to yourself.
Maybe I'll just bring a camera. You can take it yourself.
Good. That's why I keep the room so dark.
I hated to leave, but my hair was already curly enough. She had given me one lead. William was a musician of sorts, and sometimes he made money at it. I started across the street to catch another cab, and I was halfway there when I heard the car. It was an old trick. You drive by fast, open your door, and if anyone is in the way, he winds up with a face full of automobile. I ducked in a hurry. I picked myself up and thought about chasing it, but he was so far down the street I couldn't even get the license number. Expense account item 4, $3.35. Another cab to local 802 of the Musicians Union. I went in, and a little short guy with a twitch looked up at me from behind a big desk.
Yeah, something I can do for you, Pops?
That twitch?
Yeah. Too much, Pop.
You know William Baskerville plays sax?
Has he got a card?
He makes money.
Well, if he ain't, he better have.
See if he does. I'm an old friend. I'd like to get in touch with him. Between twitches, he found what I was looking for. William had just renewed his card. It didn't show a home address, but his mail was being sent to one of the swing joints on 52nd Street. I said thanks and left the little man in the middle of a twitch. Expense account item 5, $3.85. Still another cab to the address on 52nd Street.
On a table, huh?
I'm looking for William Baskerville.
Baskerville?
Plays the sax.
Yeah, you'll have to ask one of the musicians. I don't pay no attention to the music. Tone deaf.
Thanks. Can I bother you for a minute?
No, but you can talk to me. Move and lean on the piano.
Know William Baskerville?
Sure. He blows here.
Where is he?
He's off tonight. He got a phone call and took off. Why?
I want to find him.
He took off. He left rehearsal and just took off.
Was he headed someplace?
Sure. Everybody's headed someplace. You can't go nowhere without heading someplace.
I never quite looked at it that way. What time did he leave?
About 4:30. What do you want Willie for?
I got a message for him.
You a cop?
What makes you think so?
I don't think so. I was just asking. I just thought maybe, not for sure.
What?
What do you mean, what?
How do you feel?
Oh, the end. Sometime when I got the patience, I'll tell you all about it, but don't bug me now, though.
Here's 5. Come down and tell me where William Baskerville lives.
I'll take the 5, but I'm staying right where I am. I like you.
I may cry.
You're putting me on now.
You've got my 5.
5? Oh, yeah. What did it buy you?
An address.
Crazy.
I want William Baskerville.
Okay, I can't make this much longer anyway. 69 East 12th Street.
Thanks.
Solid.
Expense account item 6, cab number 4, 75 cents to the home of Brother Baskerville. I climbed the stairs of a beat-up building and stopped at a door on the 3rd floor. According to the landlord, Brother Baskerville's room was on the other side. I tried my knuckles again and put my ear to the door. I couldn't figure it out at first. It was a strange sound, the light scraping like a rope over wood. I tried the door. I'd been right on both counts. It was rope and it was rubbing on wood. Because Brother Baskerville was making the sound effects, but he was doing it the hard way. He was on one end of the rope, hanging by his neck. He was turning slowly like a weather vane in a soft breeze. At chair was tipped over at his feet, and there was a phone on the table. I crossed to it and was about to call Lieutenant Brenner's when I looked at the dead man again, and my stomach jumped up and kicked my mind into high gear. I walked back to him and picked up the chair. What I saw threw the suicide theory right out of the window. If he had used the chair to stand on, he would have still needed a ladder just to tie the rope to the rafters. I've seen a couple of guys that hang themselves, but never one that jumped 4 feet in the air to do it. I shoved the chair under him just to make sure. He cleared it by a good foot. Hello?
Hello, William?
He's tied up right now.
Who is this? Hello, who is this?
Sometimes you get lucky. A guy would have to be congenitally deaf to Miss Virginia Carter's lovely voice. She'd been lying when she told me she didn't know where William lived, and I just have a natural aversion to lying women, especially when they're mixed up in a murder. You guessed it. Expense account item 7, cab fare, $1.55 back to Greenwich in Virginia Carter's darkroom.
Well, Mr. Dollar, did you bring your camera?
We'll play spin the bottle some other time. How'd you know my name?
Why, you gave it to me this afternoon.
You're a bad liar. I'm coming in.
Oh, now, wait a minute. I'm expecting someone.
If it's who I think it is, you better hide all the rope in the house. Now move it.
Oh,
You heard from Collins yet?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Only 2 people have lied to me today, you and Collins. You told me you didn't know where William lived, and you called him 10 minutes ago. Collins said he saw William standing in the garden with a gun, and a musician told me William didn't leave rehearsal until 4:30. I didn't leave the Baskerville home until 4.
Get out of here. I don't know anybody named Collins.
Okay, but Collins just killed William Baskerville.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. He strangled him first and then stood on a chair and hung the body to a rafter.
How do you know it was Collins?
Because he forgot he's a foot taller than most guys. He gave William a boost, but he left him hanging too high.
Wait a minute.
He just left William waiting for oxygen.
You didn't say anything about killing William. I want to get out of this mess.
Slow down and tell me everything you know.
Well, I met him with William. William introduced me to him one night. After William went to prison, I started seeing Collins, and he told me that he'd been in some kind of a deal with William. They'd stolen some money, and that was why William went to prison. He went up and was supposed to split with Collins when he got out.
So William came back and wanted his share, and Collins killed him, huh?
I didn't know he was going to kill him. He forged some kind of a letter so that it would look like it came from Martin.
That's where the letter figured. He was going to kill Carl Baskerville and blame it on William.
He didn't say anything about killing anybody.
He killed him, then stole the letter. Looked like William had killed him and taken the letter to hide the motive.
Listen, Mr. Dollar.
Collins must have come in through the kitchen and started shooting. She went down like a diver with a bends and died on her face. He was trying for me when I jumped to one side and knocked over the only light burning in the room. He came close, but the flash of his gun gave him away, and I threw enough lead to fill a sink. Collins stumbled back into the kitchen, but he was dragging. I heard him drop, and I moved in after him. The moonlight slanted down through one of the windows and splashed out on the hard floor. He was lying in it, on his back, like he wanted to get that far anyway. You'd better give it up, Collins.
Forget it. No reason to kill you now.
Before you close your eyes, tell me something.
All right. It won't take too long.
Why didn't you go out and get William yourself? Why wait until I found him?
Couldn't take the chance. I knew the old man would have somebody. Start looking sooner or later. I killed him in the garden because I knew you'd make a good witness. Probably go looking for Virginia after he told you about her.
You called her and told her to tell me everything she knew.
That's right. Wanted you to find him, so it looked like a suicide.
You nearly got away with it. You just forgot how tall you were when you hanged William. You tried to run me down?
No. Just wanted to scare you. Make you think it was William.
I'll call an ambulance.
No. No, I got 3 of them. Should be raining now. Too nice a night to die.
Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. It's a beautiful night.
Yeah. Well, I can't use it. But I'll give it to you.
I called Brenner's, and he came over with his boys and cleaned it up. Virginia, the girl with the rogues gallery, was dead. And Collins wasn't long catching up. It was pretty simple. Collins and young Baskerville had taken $100,000 from the brothers' company, and William was caught. He did 6 years, knowing that when he got out, there would be $50,000 waiting. In the meantime, Collins had his girl, and enough time to think that $100,000 was better if it wasn't split in the middle. Collins framed William with a letter and then started killing. Expense account item 8, $23.45 dinner and incidentals covering the rest of the night up till the bars close. Expense account item 9, $10, a massage and steam bath. Item 10, another cab to Grand Central, 65 cents. Item 11, $38.55 train fare and incidentals back to Hartford. Expense account total, $137.27. Comments? Murder isn't so bad. A ride in any New York cab makes a killing look like a Sunday school taffy pull. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmond O'Brien in the title role and was written by Blake Edwards with music by Wilbur Hatch. Edmond O'Brien can soon be seen starring in the Paramount Pictures Technicolor production, Silver City. Featured in tonight's cast were Stacey Harris, Bill Boucher, Howard McNear, Sidney Miller, and Virginia Gregg. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle.
This is Dan Cumberly inviting you to join us next week at this time when Edmond O'Brien returns as...
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Edmond O'Brien again. I'd like to speak to you for a moment about one of the most important duties of American citizens. Today, every American has an opportunity to share in our common defense effort. And right now, this opportunity has become a duty for all of us. The armed forces of the United States need blood, our blood. The Korean campaign has gravely depleted the supply on hand, and this must be replenished if we are to afford our servicemen the protection they are giving us. No matter what your age, sex, or station in life, you can contribute to American defense by donating a pint of your blood to the men of your Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines. Call your local blood donor center or Red Cross chapter today for an appointment. Remember, your donation of blood may save the life of a wounded serviceman. Give your blood today to save a life tomorrow.
Corliss Archer's grandmothers are due to arrive in force to add complications to the already busy existence of America's favorite teenager. This invasion of grandmothers is scheduled for tomorrow evening when you meet Corliss Archer on most of these same CBS radio stations. Listen for the family fun with Corliss and all her friends tomorrow night. Stay tuned now for the Vaughn Monroe Show, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. And remember, True Actions fans, never miss a case with Gangbusters Saturday night on the CBS Radio Network.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmond O'Brien as...
Johnny Dollar.
This is Mr. Lavery at Washington Life. Are you available for an assignment?
Yes, I am, Mr. Lavery.
Fine. You'll have to go to New Mexico, little town near Gallup.
That's all right. What's the case?
We want to look into the death of a Merrill Kent. It was generally accepted that his death was the result of an accident, and he was buried day before yesterday. On that same day, the police received information to the effect that he was murdered.
Well, this kind of thing can be awkward. No autopsy, I suppose.
No, arranging one will be your first job. If the man was murdered, we want to find out.
Edmond O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Washingtonian Life Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Merrill Kent matter. Expense account item 1, $145, transportation via air, train, and finally rented car from Hartford to Fort Scott, New Mexico, which is a small village where the law is attended by a deputy sheriff named York. After I checked into a hotel, I met him in his cubbyhole of an office.
Well, I don't know what to think about the darn thing. Get everything all settled, and then some blame fool riles it up again.
Was it a local phone call?
Local? Yeah. Oh, a month ago, I could have found out who made it just by asking the operator. Used to have their finger on everything in town, but we got a dial system now. I didn't recognize her voice because she was, tricking it up.
What did she say?
She called while the funeral was going on, you know.
Yeah, I understood that.
Yeah, she said something from the Bible and that she couldn't stay silent while the good man's body was being submitted to the grave, as she put it. Then she said she wasn't sure enough to accuse anybody out in the open, but that she thought Mr. Kent had been murdered.
No more than that? Didn't she name anybody?
No, she just hung up.
Yeah, isn't much to start from, is it?
No. You know, I knew Kent. He was a good horseman, but better ones have been killed the same way. See, the horse falls and the rider's foot slips through the stirrup. Then when the horse gets up, he panics with this thing stuck there and dragging at him. He doesn't have to run 100 yards, and the man's dead. Well, Kent's horse must have run 3 miles.
How do you know that?
Well, the way he was blowing when he got back to the ranch. He dragged Kent all the way home, you know.
But you don't know where it happened, huh?
No. Kent bred horses and was out all the time exercising them, so it could have happened any place. I just say the man had some hard luck. He's dead and buried, and as far as I'm concerned, that should be the end of it.
Yeah, you're probably right. The insurance company has a sizable investment to protect if they can. They want an autopsy, so I guess we'll have to have one.
Well, how do you figure on working that out? I know the widow won't okay one, and some survivor has to in this state.
Have you talked to her about this?
No, but she's been through enough as it is. Why should I want to open it up again?
You'd think she'd want to know if her husband was murdered or not.
She doesn't know anything about the phone call.
She doesn't?
I didn't think it was worth telling her about.
I'm afraid you'll have to be told, but I'll spare you the trouble. Small town like this, I know it's tough.
Yeah, that's right, it is.
Who was the doctor that was called, the one that signed the death certificate?
His name's Snyder.
Yeah, thanks. Where's his office?
It's in his house down on Elm Street, 2nd Street just past the hotel.
I'll find it. Thanks again, Sheriff. Sorry I have to stir things up. I'll do it as quietly as I can. Right then, I didn't know how to figure the sheriff. It was fairly obvious that he didn't approve of what I was doing. For the time being, I charged it off to the fact that no law officer enjoys the possibility that a crime might have gone unpunished right under his nose. Dr. Hugo Snyder's shingle on a white fence identified the address on Elm Street. A side door led to his office waiting room. I was met there by a woman in a nurse's uniform.
Good afternoon, sir.
How do you do? Dr. Snyder in?
Yes, but he's busy at the moment. Do you have an appointment?
No, I don't. I'm not a patient. Here, I have to talk to him about something else. Here's my card.
Insurance investigator.
That's right.
Mr. Dollar, please don't think me an overly inquisitive nurse. I'm Mrs. Snyder.
Oh, well, that does make a difference. I want to talk to him about a death he attended a little while ago. Mr. Merrill Kent.
Mr. Kent?
Yes, the company that held his life policy sent me.
Oh, I see. They think an investigation is needed.
There's a chance, yes. That's what I wanted to talk to the doctor about. If I can see him now.
He's in the X-ray lab. I'll see if he can come out. Hugo.
Yes, what is it?
There's a gentleman here to see you. It's about Merrill Kent.
What about it?
Well, I don't know, dear. He's an investigator from an insurance company.
All right, I'll be right out.
I hope you'll excuse me for being curious.
Surely.
Is it a usual thing in cases like this to have an investigation?
Not exactly. It probably should be, but unless something about a case seems to call for looking into, nothing is done.
How do you do?
Dr. Snyder?
This is Mr. Dollar.
Yes. You're an insurance investigator, Mr. Dollar?
Yes, a rare thing in Fort Scott, I take it.
Here's his card, dear.
Yes, I don't understand why you're here. What is it about Merrill Kent?
Well, it could be I'm on a fool's errand, Dr. Snyder. It wouldn't be the first one. But the day of Kent's funeral, Sheriff York got a phone call from somebody who hinted that his death wasn't accidental.
Why, that's ridiculous. Of course it was accidental. He was dragged to death by a horse.
And the first people to see him were his wife and her brother, who notified you, right?
That's right. Harris phoned me, and I went right out.
Yeah. Now, you as a doctor realize that you can't diagnose a patient's condition without examining them. The same thing holds for this situation. I say that because I want you to understand that the things I'm going to bring up are only possibilities.
Of course.
The symptoms I work on. Now, how long did it take you to get to the Kent Ranch after you were called?
No more than 15 minutes.
And Kent was dead when you got there?
Yes, and probably had been for some time.
Where was the body when you first saw it?
Near the corral. Harris had brought blankets out. I don't know what hopes he must have had that Kent was alive, but he'd put blankets on the ground and one over him.
Then his foot wasn't stuck in the stirrup when you got there?
No, Harris had freed him as soon as he could.
And you couldn't swear that his foot had ever been in the stirrup, could you?
Good Lord, Mr. Dollar,
Now, wait a minute, Doctor, please. Please, these are only possibilities. Did you see his boot? Marks must have been left on it. Did you examine his ankle? Must have been bruised or wrenched.
No, of course I didn't. I wasn't concerned with his ankle or his boot.
Well, did anyone look at them? Sheriff York wasn't called in at all, was he?
No, because it was a clear case of accident.
What about his hands, his arms? And his clothes must have been torn to shreds.
I didn't notice. He was covered from his shoulders down, as I remember.
Well, who would have noticed? What about the undertaker?
The body was taken to Leesburg that same evening, the Weinrich Mortuary. It's about 15 miles north of here.
How about your examination, Doctor? Would you tell me about it?
Well, very little was necessary. He died as a result of severe multiple fractures of the skull.
And I don't suppose you could tell which of these fractures was the fatal one?
No, of course not.
Or which was the first one?
Of course I couldn't.
Then he could have been hit on the head by somebody and then dragged by the horse, couldn't he?
I signed a certificate to the effect that his death was accidental. I firmly believe that it was.
Now, nobody doubts your sincerity, Doctor, but you'll have to admit that since somebody has mentioned murder, there are some angles that could stand looking into.
I tell you there aren't. But what do you propose to do?
We're going to order an autopsy. Kent had a sister living in Seattle. She's on her way here in case we need her authority to get one. I want to thank you both, and I hope I won't have to bother you again.
Good day, Mr. Dollar.
Hilda, what's the matter? Stop it. What's the matter? Last time it happened. Don't you think so? All right, I'll come out later. Don't worry, we will. Now, goodbye, Mrs. Green. Oh, hello there, Mr. Dollar.
Hi, Sheriff.
Oh, how you getting along?
It's hard to tell yet, but the doctor's death certificate could be full of holes.
How do you figure that?
It's nothing against him, but he had to admit the cause of death didn't have to be accidental.
He said that?
Yeah, so I want to find out everything I can about Kent before I see the widow. Assuming the possibility of murder for a minute, can Can you think of anybody that could have done it?
No, I can't think of anybody.
How'd he get along in town? Was he well-liked?
Well, he didn't have much to do with the town. He was away a lot to horse shows and sales, things like that.
How long would he be away on these trips?
Well, I never kept tabs on that. No reason to.
He'd take Mrs. Kent with him?
Most often he didn't, I'd say. She seemed to be here pretty steady.
Do you have any idea how they got along?
I wouldn't know anything about that. Never heard one way or another.
Where is the Kent Ranch, Sheriff?
You turn to the left at Bryan's store. It's out 5.5 miles.
Thanks.
Oh, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah?
I know you think I'm acting kind of strange about this, and, well, I guess I am. These people are my friends, and you grow close together in a place this size.
I told you I understood that.
I guess I don't want any of them to turn out to be a killer.
Have you remembered something that you want to tell me?
No, it's nothing like that. I wouldn't lie to you. But it seems like you've got it in your mind that Maxine Kent might have had something to do with her husband dying.
I didn't say that.
Everybody likes her, Mr. Dollar. Loves her, I guess is more like it. She was born here. Now, if you're going to make it rough on her, I'd watch my step if I was you.
Thanks for the advice, Sheriff. The way you seem to feel, I wonder that you reported that phone call at all. The ranch was quite a surprise. I'd halfway expected the layout to be like the village and the other ranches I'd passed, old and badly cared for. But the residence was chalk white with a tiled roof and long shaded verandas. Around it, the grounds were well-groomed, and behind it were a few low white outbuildings. A woman I assumed to be the widow was standing at the edge of the drive as I pulled up. She was strikingly beautiful, in her mid-20s, with coal black hair and eyes, a kind of slim, almost boyish figure they write about, and a complexion and color put there by the sun. I could see why the town felt the way they did about her.
Well, Mr. Dollar?
Yeah, I seem to have been preceded by my infamy.
My brother's in town. He phoned me that you were on your way out. He didn't tell me where he'd learned it, but...
I only told one man, Sheriff York.
That isn't important. It really isn't. They're all doing what they think is right. They think they're helping me. But I can realize that all they've done is give you more and more reason for suspicion. Isn't that true?
So far, yes.
Come up on the veranda where we can sit down. Then you can tell me what to do.
Sure.
Have a chair.
This is fine.
I'd made up my mind that I wouldn't go to pieces, but if I do, you'll have to forgive me. How do I order an autopsy when the funeral...
All that's needed is your signature, Mrs. Kent, on a form that says you're authorized one.
I will. If it's the right thing to do, I'll do it. Is that all?
As far as I'm concerned, yes. The rest of it will be up to the county. They'll ask if you suspect anyone.
I don't. I don't suspect anyone.
They'll ask who you suspect of calling the police.
But I don't suspect anyone.
Then it'll be up to the coroner's jury. Besides, Miss Kent, I don't know if you can understand that because of the phone call, I couldn't do anything but press this.
Don't understand. I don't understand any of it, but I'll do what's right. Unless there's something else, I wish you'd go now.
When I drove away from the ranch, I would have given my salary and a lot more if I could have skirted the village and kept right on going. I still wish I had.
You the guy from the insurance company?
That's right. Where's Sheriff York?
He's over at Doc Snyder's. Just phoned and said if you showed up to get right over there.
Why?
Mrs. Snyder killed herself. She left a letter. She said she was the one who made the phone call that started this whole thing.
We will return you to yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in just a moment. Gangbusters shouldn't have relatives. That would seem to be the moral of the exciting gangbusters case tonight. Hear the case of the talkative boy, in which a crook is corralled through telling testimony furnished to San Francisco police by his young nephew. Don't miss Gangbusters, with another action-packed story based on police records, tonight on most of these same CBS radio stations. Now with our star Edmond O'Brien, we bring you the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Sheriff York?
Yeah, who is it? Oh. Well, I guess you got the news.
Briefly, yeah. What's the story?
Well, the doctor was in the office, and he called for Mrs. Snyder. She didn't answer. When he came out to look for her, he found her in there, in the parlor. She was dead on the couch.
The note. What else did it say except that she was the one that phoned you?
It's there on the table. Something about there was nothing behind it but false suspicion and wrecking her life beyond repair. I don't know, it's kind of wandering.
What kind of false suspicion? Her husband and Mrs. Kent?
It looks that way. Come on, we'll go on in. You can read it yourself.
Yeah. Where's the doctor?
He's in his room.
Alone?
You're through here. Yeah, that's the way he wanted it. He's mighty busted up over it.
Have you reported the county yet?
I called him as soon as I got here. Some men are on the way. Well, there she is. I covered her up. You know, she never seemed like a person who'd kill herself.
The note was addressed to whom it may concern. I won't attempt to quote it. The main idea was that she had been driven to phone Sheriff York by a blind suspicion of her husband's feelings towards Maxine Kent. Then, when she learned these suspicions were groundless, she realized that there was no longer any chance for happiness. The closing words begged her husband's forgiveness and swore to his innocence. Sheriff York would rather not go with me, but he guessed it would be all right if I talked to the doctor.
Again, Mr. Dollar.
Yes, things haven't cleared up very quickly, have they?
Oh, Scott has accomplished a great deal. Suppose I was being too objective. I meant the 2 lives have been ruined since you arrived. Wives of my own.
You didn't mean that I ruined.
Oh, no, of course not. Circumstance. Circumstance that should have been entirely harmless, not even known. Misunderstand me, I'm not defending no reason to anymore.
Those circumstances drove your wife to breaking the case open, with you in the middle.
Her own version of them. I am in love with Maxine Kent. I have been. If I'd been selfish and divorced my wife, if Maxine had been the same, none of this would have had the meaning that it has now. But one doesn't do things like that in a small town unless one is prepared to leave. We weren't.
Why not?
The doctor's money is nothing. She had nothing. But we were intelligent people. We had control of our emotions. So we talked and decided not to see each other again. I'll admit I lied to my wife. Not well. She suspected the truth. When Kent was killed, I think she lost her mind with doubt.
You did say killed, didn't you?
Yes. I mustn't forget that my motive is now public, isn't it? That part of her note will be remembered. That she realized she was wrong isn't important, is it?
That depends. By itself, this is a good story, all of it. But it falls to pieces when it's told by the doctor who signed Merrill Kent's death certificate.
Yes, I suppose it does. But it's the truth.
If it is, you can prove it. Where were you the afternoon Kent was killed?
Sometimes you can't prove the truth. I was in the office, working with my wife.
Then why did she think you had killed him?
Because she left for about an hour to shop.
What did you do during that time?
I came here to this room and rested.
Is there any way to prove that? Anyone see you?
No. And if you can't prove it, it's not the truth.
If you can, it holds up better in court.
You're convinced that I'm guilty, aren't you?
All I can do is work with what's at hand. If you are, you'd better plead it. If you aren't, you'd better keep your fingers crossed for a quick confession from someone else.
Mr. Dollar, tell me, has it been proved that he was murdered?
The autopsy should be underway by tomorrow afternoon.
Kent's sister has arrived?
We don't need her. His widow is authorizing one.
I see.
Anything more to say?
No. No, I don't think there's anything more to say.
from county headquarters arrived at 6:30 p.m. On their orders, Dr. Snyder was removed to the single cell of the Fort Scott jail. He wasn't questioned that evening, but the headquarters men quite pointedly had their doubts that his wife's death was due to suicide. When I'd given them everything I had, I drove back to the Kent ranch. This time, I wasn't met by the beautiful widow. A man stood waiting for me at the edge of the driveway.
Hello. I saw your lights coming up the road.
I came to see Mrs. Kent.
Sorry, she's not here.
Where is she?
She had to go to Santa Fe. I'm her brother. Can I do anything for you?
I don't need any help, thanks. We'll have the Santa Fe police pick her up.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It's a pretty sudden trip to Santa Fe, wasn't it?
No, she does this a couple of times a month. It's not as close as Albuquerque, but she likes it better. Your name, Dollar?
How soon did she leave after Mrs. Snyder killed herself?
I think it was before.
Couldn't have been. I was here.
Here with Maxine?
You people ought to get your signal straight. She said you phoned her that I was on my way out from town. How come you didn't know it? Or didn't you really call?
You're right. Things got confusing.
Oh, I sure did. Where's your sister?
It's true. She's in Santa Fe. I told her not to go because everything she did like that was making it look worse.
That's right. Why'd she go?
When she heard about the doc's wife, she flew apart. Until then, she was sure Kent hadn't been murdered. When that happened, she seemed to change her mind.
I guess we can charge it off to the old beat-up prerogative women are supposed to have. I'll run back to my hotel. Get some sleep.
Wait just a second. I want to tell you this. Whatever happened, Maxine didn't have anything to do with it.
What did happen?
I don't know. I'm no expert. I was here when the horse dragged Kent in. I took his foot out of the stirrup and laid him down. Maybe I should have waited until the governor came. I don't know.
Anyway, you took him down.
To me, he was dragged to death. But you say he might have been hit on the head by somebody. I don't know.
Doc Snyder?
I don't know.
Did you see him out here that afternoon?
No. As far as I'm concerned, he quit coming out a couple of weeks ago. Before that, he kept after Maxine. She told me that. Then she made him stop.
How'd she stop him?
She told him she couldn't divorce Kent.
You're trying to clear her, and that's natural.
I'd like to see the truth come out.
Well, let's work on that then. When was the last time your sister and Snyder were together?
A couple of weeks ago. I didn't hear it, but I was here when she told him it had to stop. That was the last time he came out.
Did she meet him any place?
No, and I'm sure of that. I made it my business to find out where she went and who she saw. She never met him.
Did he phone her?
Yes, but it finally got to the point where I'd answer the phone and she wouldn't talk to him.
Do you know if she ever phoned him?
I don't think she did. I don't know why she should. What are you driving at?
I want to find out if Snyder could have discovered that Kent was out riding that afternoon. If he could have found out where he was going and could have met him.
My sister couldn't have told him because she didn't know.
You sure of that?
She was in her room resting. I'm the only one who knew where he was going.
Are you still protecting her?
It's the truth. I talked to him just before he left. He was breaking this horse to shoot off of, and he went out toward McNeil Canyon to find some jackrabbits.
They'd make better witnesses if they could talk. Have to have your sister picked up.
How soon will that order go out?
Why?
I just thought she might get hold of herself and come back tonight. It'd be a break if you could wait till morning.
She didn't ask for a break by leaving. I'll think it over and check back with you. The next day, things moved slowly. Mrs. Kent did come back on her own and signed for an autopsy. I didn't see her. By that evening, her husband's body had been exhumed, and by noon the following day, the coroner's report was out. There was no actual post-mortem evidence of murder, but the openings were still there. Considering the circumstances, there was no proof that it wasn't murder either. The inquest verdict was the familiar death by misadventure, or at the hands of person or persons unknown. Dr. Snyder and the body of his wife were carted off to the county seat for more questioning and examination. And I spent the rest of the day with Sheriff York and a flock of volunteer citizens going over everything we had from the beginning again. It was a long, hot afternoon. After a shower and some food that evening, I started back to the Kent Ranch.
You again, Dollar? Thought you'd be through with this since Doc Snyder was arrested.
Not quite. Your sister here?
What do you want with it?
I want to talk to her. Give her my apologies.
Apologies? I hadn't noticed a side of you that would bother with them.
Is she here?
She's too upset to be bothered.
Ask Mr. Dollar in, Harris. Why are you acting that way?
Thank you, Mrs. Kent.
Please come in.
Why'd you run out the other night, Miss Kent?
I don't know. When Hugo's wife... I lost my head.
She came back, didn't she?
I'm glad she did. She had nothing to run away from.
What do you mean?
Well, we're satisfied now that your husband's death was accidental.
You knew this, Dollar?
I was with Sheriff York. We went out toward McNeil Canyon. Found the spot where it happened. Your husband fired a rifle. We found it. His horse reared and fell. Marks in the ground show that. It was dragged from there. There are traces of that, too.
It's over. It's over. No. No, they believe me, no.
Expense account item 2, miscellaneous, $88.40. Item 3, same as item 1, transportation back to Hartford. Expense account total, $378.40. Remarks? I'm sorry about the happy ending. The fact that everybody told the truth and that nobody was a criminal, and that the insurance claim is as good as New Mexico gold. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmond O'Brien in the title role and is written by Gil Dowd with music by Wilbur Hatch. Edmond O'Brien will soon be seen starring in the Paramount Pictures production, Silver City. Featured in tonight's cast were Ray Hartman, Joseph Kearns, Jeanette Nolan, Edgar Barrier, Virginia Gregg, and Hy Averback. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle.
This is Clarence Cassell inviting you to join us next week at this time when Edmond O'Brien returns as...
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Edmond O'Brien again. I'd like to speak to you for a moment about one of the most important duties of American citizens. Today, every American has an opportunity to share in our common defense effort. And right now, this opportunity has become a duty for all of us. The armed forces of the United States need blood, our blood. The Korean campaign has gravely depleted the supply on hand, and this must be replenished if we are to afford our servicemen the protection they are giving us. No matter what your age, sex, or station in life, you can contribute to American defense by donating a pint of your blood to the men of your Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines. Call your local blood donor center or Red Cross chapter today for an appointment. Remember, your donation of blood may save the life of a wounded serviceman. Give your blood today to save a life tomorrow.
Partners, if you're looking for exciting Western adventure, you've come to the right network. Every Saturday on CBS Radio, most of these same stations bring you the Gene Autry Show and Bill Boyd as Hopalong Cassidy. Listen tonight. Stay tuned now for the Vaughn Monroe Show, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. And remember, Gene Autry every Saturday evening on the CBS Radio Network.